Now, for a few weeks, Emsworth residents have been wondering who's behind a series of sculptures made out of seaweed. The somewhat bizarre artworks look rather like green people sprawled across the shore as if they were sunbathing. Well, the artist has now been revealed, and our reporter Nicole Ris went to meet her to find out what drove her to make these distinctive pieces.
The high amount of seaweed that's been washing up on Emsworth's shoreline this year has been a cause for complaint for many locals and beachgoers. But artist Karen McDougall has found a way of turning the slimy green material into unusual creations.
We're here by the slip for people to take their boats out, and it's really difficult for them to actually get their boats out because of all the seaweed. So I've heard a lot of people complaining about the volume of seaweed this year, and there's two sailing clubs close by, and I've heard quite a few people say, it's a real pain with all the seaweed around. And I just started to look at it and examine it and think I could do something with this. I'm currently working on a project involving flesh and skin and the human form, and I kind of looked at that and thought, well, it's nature, and I can mirror nature again using this seaweed. And then I just started to experiment. I actually wanted to do a vertical figure, but obviously with seaweed and the consistency, it's not possible to stack the seaweed up. So in the middle of the night, I just suddenly thought I could do it horizontal. Why can't I do a sculpture horizontal? So I came the next morning, and that's what I did. I started doing them horizontal and realised that it worked. I have to fit in with the tides, obviously, so I come here early in the morning with my dog, or I come later, tea time. It just depends on the tide times as well. But it takes several hours to make one, so I may come in the morning and start it, have to come back again at the end of the day. I know it sounds bizarre, but sometimes I have to water them to keep them moist so I can actually complete it.
For several weeks, people tried in vain to find out who was behind the distinctive artwork, even posting on social media in an attempt to uncover Karen's identity.
I just think people came along, saw the sculptures, didn't see me making them, and just thought, well, who's made them? Where have they come from? There are obviously lots of references to Banksy. And then things started to appear on Twitter, people asking, does anybody know who's done them? And then a friend of mine took photographs and then sent it off to the local newspaper. I think people have looked at it in a positive way, whereas the seaweed, as they've been complaining about it, it's dirty and it's in the way and we don't want it. And then it becomes something. I think people are familiar with seeing it in sand, where people do sand sculptures, but not familiar with seeing it in seaweed, and they find it nice, they like it. It's positive comments, they really like it. And the sculptures are very realistic in shape to the human form. Sometimes it can be quite scary because it's quite shocking that, why is there a human lying on the slip on the foreshore?
The high tide has now washed away part of the sunbathing sculptures, but Karen says she'll keep creating new ones.
I'm still carrying on with the seaweed, but also because some of the sea wall has been repaired, a digger came along and dug up all the clay and left the clay exposed. So I'm actually going to start doing a project with the clay as well to see if that works.
Nicole Ris for That's Solent.